Well, Ohio State fans, your season is pretty much over. Yeah, you may go to a big bowl game, but everything that you really wanted to happen is no longer on the table after today's loss against Michigan. To be fair, you shouldn't be that upset, as you've pretty much won for the last decade, but when your expectation is to get to the playoff every single year, this one's going to sting for Ohio State fans, especially with how good this offense is, how dominant this trio of receivers are, and how the redshirt freshman quarterback of CJ Stroud has played. I guess Ohio State can't have everything though, and to the delight of most of the college football world, they lost today to Michigan and eliminated themselves from both the Big Ten championship game and the college football playoff. In today's video, I want to briefly talk about Ohio State's season, what happened in today's game, and why this is such a tough pill to swallow. But right before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, nearly 80% of you guys are not subscribed, so quickly be sure to hit that subscribe button as it really helps the channel. Hit that like button for the algorithm, turn on post notifications, and let me know another topic I can do in my next video. Now let's talk about Ohio State. So going into this year, Ohio State had high expectations. I mean, when is that not the case? After Justin Fields was named the franchise quarterback for the Chicago Bears, there were a couple of options. You had redshirt freshman CJ Stroud, redshirt freshman Jack Miller, true freshman Kyle McCord, and then technically you could say true freshman Quinn Ewers. Except he enrolled really late, and he was so far behind, he was never going to be the starter. Well, CJ Stroud showed what he was made of through spring camp and during the summer, and he was named the starting quarterback. While he did struggle to a degree in week 1 against Minnesota, he's had a spectacular season. In terms of the running back spot, it looked like Master Teague and Mayan Williams were going to be the two guys, but TreVeyon Henderson has emerged as a force as a true freshman, and he has come along quicker than anybody thought. The one thing everyone knew Ohio State had was a great trio of wide receivers. Well, I'm tired of Ohio State fans that say those three guys rank 1, 2, and 3 in all of college football. I do have to admit it's a spectacular group of players, and they're all going to do big things in the NFL. The first one was Chris Olave, who recently became the best receiver in school history. The second one was the ultra-talented Garrett Wilson, and the third one was the young star of Jackson Smith-Njigba. All three have played tremendous this year, and if you go beyond that, the team was loaded with depth. The offense wasn't really going to be a question, as the offensive line was going to be solid, and you had a great coaching staff. The big question mark was going to be the defense. That's ultimately what cost them today, but at first, Ohio State looked like they were going to be okay. In week 1, they took care of Minnesota, and while that game was closer than the experts predicted, Ohio State came away with the win. In week 2, they did get exposed as Anthony Brown and CJ Verdell tore up this Ohio State defense and went into Columbus for one of the biggest wins of the year. From there, though, the Buckeyes began to go on a tear. They killed Tulsa, they killed Akron, they killed Rutgers, they killed Maryland, and they killed Indiana. Not like any of those teams were really that good, but it was still an impressive stretch. The Penn State game was the first true test since Oregon, and while the Nittany Lions hung around, Ohio State made enough plays to survive and win at home. In early November, they went on the road to Nebraska, and this ended up being a really strange game. Ohio State obviously survived, but Nebraska showed that Ohio State was not invincible. As a Purdue fan myself, I was hoping we'd see a little bit of 2018 magic when they rematched in Columbus, but that's not how it went, and Ohio State dominated 59-31. Last weekend, Michigan State came to town, and after the Spartans had beat the Wolverines, I thought Michigan State was at least going to keep it close in the first half. I was wrong. CJ Stroud threw for over 400 yards and 6 touchdowns in the first half, and that game was over in the first few minutes. Because of that, it looked like Ohio State had put it all together and that they were to go into Ann Arbor and win this game, go to the Big Ten championship, and get their spot in the playoff. Well, it didn't quite happen like that. Michigan got off to a good start and could have gone up 14-0, but Cade McNamara threw a red zone pick. From there, Ohio State and Michigan kept it close, but the Wolverines just ran up and down Ohio State's defense, and the Wolverines' offensive line controlled the game. Hassan Haskins had the most touchdowns in the rivalry's history, as he ran for over 200 yards and 5 touchdowns, and eventually the Wolverines won 42-27. This was the first loss of the Ryan Day era in Big Ten Conference play, the first time Michigan has won in over 10 years, and now tonight is very painful for Ohio State fans. After his first loss in conference play, Ryan Day had this to say after the game. Quote, "We didn't run the ball very well on offense, we hurt ourselves with penalties on offense, and we didn't stop the run on the other side of the ball. Michigan controlled this game, they stayed on schedule, and that was their recipe. we weren't able to stop it, and that's extremely disappointing, especially when you knew they were going to do it. Obviously, Ryan Day was extremely upset with what happened, and you cannot blame weather as a reason for this because Ohio State and Michigan are both accustomed to this, and obviously the Wolverines got the job done. Ryan Day said he thought his team responded and fought well, but at the end of the day they could not turn the tides, and they couldn't get the momentum going their way. That's kind of what I saw during this game, as Michigan just always had an answer, and when Ohio State would convert these fourth downs or make these big plays, their defense could not step up, and they just could not get the momentum rolling. In terms of the most disappointing thing this season, it has been how good CJ Stroud has been and how his talent is somewhat been wasted. When you take a look at some of the games he's had this year, he had 4 touchdowns in their first win against Minnesota, 5 touchdowns against Rutgers, 5 touchdowns against Maryland, 4 on the road against Indiana, 5 against Purdue, 6 against Michigan State, and honestly, he was becoming the frontrunner for the Heisman. In the regular season, Stroud finished with 3,468 yards, 36 touchdowns, and only 5 picks, and Ryan Day got everything he wanted out of the redshirt freshman, and he definitely impressed me. Not only did their arch rival win, but they're going to be going to the Big Ten Championship and fighting for a playoff spot while they're going to be sitting at home next weekend. It's a tough pill to swallow. It's definitely a tough pill to swallow for Ohio State fans, but I'm sure you'll be back and better than ever next year. Here's why it's such a crime though. As I've mentioned, this offense is just extremely special, and the Buckeyes are going to lose 2 of the best receivers in school history to the NFL. Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave are both going to be gone, and while there's a lot of talent behind them, it's a tall task to live up to what those 2 did. In 4 years with the program, Olave caught 169 passes for 2,623 yards and 35 touchdowns. He'll likely be a first-round pick, and it's going to take a while before someone breaks that record. Garrett Wilson, on the other hand, has been making acrobatic plays since he stepped foot on campus, and he's likely going to finish his Ohio State career with over 133 grabs for 2,000 yards and 22 touchdowns. Both of them, as I said, will be gone, and they are going to be tough to replace, and I can't help but think Ohio State sort of wasted their talent this year. I definitely wanted to see those 2 guys on the biggest stage, but it's not going to happen. Thankfully, we're going to see more of Jackson Smith-Njigba, as he has just taken over lately for Ohio State, and he's going to be a true superstar next year. I can't wait to see what guys like Emeka Egbuka, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Julian Fleming do, but that will be for next year. TreVeyon Henderson still has 2 more seasons, and CJ Stroud at least has 1 more year, so I think in 2022, get their revenge, get back to the Big Ten Championship, and fight for that playoff spot. But for now, this is a tough one. The question marks are going to be on the defense, and while Kerry Coombs did save his job, you got to wonder if Ohio State fans are going to blame him for what has gone on. Well, what do you guys think? If you're an Ohio State fan, what went wrong this season? What is your outlook for 2022? And who do you think is going to step up and replace some of the talent you're going to lose? Let me know down in the comment section. Give me another topic I could do in my next video. Hit that like button to support the video, and check out all my other videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.